Good morning and welcome to the DFS YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Go ahead and take a look at some pitching for today, the 4th of September, Labor Day. Plenty of day baseball, plenty of beautiful weather across the country. We got quite a bit of wind blowing out in places. Cleveland and Wrigley are the main ones. Cincinnati, Oakland, LA, and Kansas City are the others. We get some temps approaching 100 in the Midwest. So plenty of beautiful weather for baseball today. We have a 7-game day or main slate, and then a 4-game night slate. So let's dig in. Wanted to be on Justin Steele, but the 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to center in Wrigley um, are pretty big worries for me. I will be honest. Game total is just 9. I say just because it feels like this would be a total of 10 uh, if it was a different pitching matchup with Webb and Steele going. Steele's been pretty good. Um, Probably will give up a couple runs in this one, uh, but left-handed pitchers against San Francisco are intriguing. I just don't know if I want to go there with the way the weather is in Wrigley. With that being said, we don't have a ton of great pitching options. So maybe we do still have to consider Steele a little bit, but it's volatile. And it's a volley. Just hasn't been super strong overall since the trade deadline. Had that one really strong start against San Francisco, was decent against Colorado, um, but definitely not pitching the way that he was with Cleveland. I might have to consider him. Right now, he's out of my pool. I do have my pool up on site already this morning. Um, I may have to consider him. I just don't really like picking on Boston with pitching right now. He's a minus 130 favorite, so maybe I do have to add him to my pool. And I might replace Logan Webb with Savali in that initial pool. Speaking of Logan Webb, I wanted to be on him. He's been rougher on the road, is the worry. But then obviously the weather in Wrigley probably not worth it for me. Um, until I knew which way the wind was blowing, he was going to be in my pool, but I feel okay removing him at this point. Merrill Kelly, home against Colorado. 2 starts against them has dominated them, averaging nearly 25 DK points per start against them. Nearly 21 DK points per game when pitching at home, which could be even better if he would pick up some wins. His numbers are phenomenal, but they just don't seem to get him the W when he's at home. 4 points can make a pretty big difference. Coming off of a really rough start against LA, which is to be expected. The Dodgers have just dominated him over the years. Does have double-digit strikeouts in 2 out of his last 4, but 3 out of his last 5 he has 3 or less. So uh, strikeouts are not a guarantee with him, but I do love the upside. Matchup is super, super weak for him. Minus 267 favorite. Going to end up one of my top options on the slate. Jose Barrios, a minus 190 road favorite against Oakland. Was strong against Oakland the first time he faced them. He's not as strong on the road this season. Coming off of a couple pretty rough starts. I'm thinking he bounces back, but it's not some guarantee. We've seen him struggle before, um, but I expect him to be somewhat popular because the obvious, picking on Oakland is a thing, should be a thing. No thanks to JP France. This game's got a 9.5 total. No thanks to Brian Wu. Coming off of a really strong start against Oakland, but nearly 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to center, I believe. Or not 20. No, they were just 12 to center. The other nearly 20 was in Cleveland. I know Cincinnati can strike out, but I'm just gonna bank on the Cincinnati left-handed bats doing a ton of damage to Wu in this one. Brian Bayo, I'm intrigued. Hasn't been as strong on the road, but there's K upside against Tampa Bay. He's not a huge K guy, but there is upside. So he's going to make my pool just because I think he's a better option than France and Wu. And he's still going to be lower owned because we have Cole Reagans at 7,200. Hasn't been as great at home. All the home runs he's allowed have come at home. His K rate is lower, walk rate's higher, etc. Um, he's been ridiculous, and I don't know what he figured out or what he's doing differently or what's going on. Um, but he has 28 plus DK points in four of his last six starts, 31 plus in three out of his last five. It's just been ridiculous. Uh, the White Sox K plenty. It is great hitting weather in Kansas City, but man, he's going to be super popular at 7,200. It's a minus 155 favorite. Game total of 9.5, however. Uh, so there is volatility with him. Uh, it's not somebody I would be interested in going all in with at this point. The only other guy that I'm really considering, I'm going to refresh this here, is going to be Schultens in that same game. Hasn't been super sharp, I understand. His last start was strong, just no strikeouts. He has some ability. He has been better on the road. Kansas City does have some guys that will strike out, but the biggest thing for me is Schultens is an extreme reverse splits pitcher, and if Kansas City ends up with a heavy left-handed lineup, there's a possibility for some easier outs. Um, but it does bring like Salvador Perez, Bobby Witt, and Nelson Velasquez into play as pretty strong bat options for us on this slate. But Schulten's kind of more of a dart throw addition. Um, my pitcher pool might only end up six deep on the slate. I'm just not going to force it to eight. I'll figure out how to make my percentages work. I'm just not going to use shit pitchers ultimately. So there we have it on the main slate. Let's take a look quick here at the four gamer this evening. We get Pablo Lopez against Cleveland. Really crazy to see that the game total is just eight with the wind blowing straight out to center in Cleveland. I like Pablo Lopez. Has struggled against Cleveland this year, but has been at his best on the road. I have no problem going with him as a minus 140 favorite. Corbin Burns. Looks like we're still waiting on a Vegas line, but two strong starts against Pitt this year, allowing three total hits. So if he avoids the walks, he's been absolutely dominant. He's been ridiculous on the road. Uh, things just line up for this spot for Burns to be the overwhelming number one option on this slate. Giolito making his first start with Cleveland. Actually been pretty dominant against the Twins this year. Ton of K upside against them. So I'm interested. I'm just not really excited about using a fly ball pitcher with the wind blowing out. So he'll definitely be in my pool just because, we have limited options. Um, but I will certainly be stacking the Minnesota side some. Dylan Walker against the Padres. He's been decent, not great for a while now. He, he'll be a viable option. I'm just not in a hurry to jam him in. Jason Rodriguez lit up by the Angels earlier this year. He has been better on the road. He's been better of late. I think he's an excellent option. He is a minus 190 favorite in this game on the road. Rich Hill, no thanks. Even though he's a minus 120 favorite, I will pass. And if Rich Hill beats me, oh well. We move on to the next one. Kenny Rosenberg, no thank you. Luis Ortiz, I'm going to guess no thank you, but he was actually strong against the Brewers the one time he did face them. He's coming off a pretty solid performance. One thing to pay attention to, he may follow an opener, which is important for us to notice. He could be a viable option just because we do need to add some pitchers to our pool. But there we have it. There's the first look at everything today. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. And if you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, notes, Discord, etc. I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.